I'm a little late. Hope you can hear and see me okay. To no one. No one is watching right now. So um, I guess I'm just talking to myself. I'm dropping a lot of frames. Show stats. Okay. Oh, I know. Oh, no, that's not an issue. Oh, okay. Got some people in the stream. Good to see you. Got 4 total folks. Glad to have you available. I guess we'll just get started. As you know, I'm your host today, Dominic DeFranco. I'm coming to you live from the beautiful Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. And today we're going to talk about JavaScript and other fun things. We're going to go over some of the stuff we talked about in lecture this week on functions and objects and I don't know, any other things, questions, what have you, that you might have. Yeah, this is a little better. So before I kind of go forward and stuff like that, any questions, comments, concerns, anything, anyone in the chat have anything they want to say or any issues or something like they'd like to see today or something they'd like to have covered covered in our little session today? No, it looks pretty quiet in the chat. All 3 of my people here is very quiet. This does work, right? Yay. I can write 2 in the chat. Look at that. Oh, we have 5 people. Hey, we gained 2. That's amazing. Always good to see a few more folks. So I will say it again for our 2 new people. Is there anything they want to cover or talk about today? Full on, this is also kind of like a bit of a Q&A session, so to speak. I'm so happy to answer any questions. But if not, I could just, try to program and kind of play around with some of the concepts we talked about in class the last week or so. So I guess we'll just do that then. If no other questions or anyone that immediately want to talk about something, I can go on and just play around with a little bit of code. So let's do that. So right now I'm using JS Bin. It's one of my favorite sites for just like quickly getting up and running some JavaScript or a little HTML and CSS and other stuff. It's a great testing ground for playing around with concepts. It also connects with GitHub and also allows like collaborative sharing and editing and stuff like that as well. So it's a really great place to test out your code, to write something really quick and kind of have it running and working in your browser. You could also do that in DevTools as well, but a lot of times doing like multi-line editing and stuff like that in the Chrome DevTools can be a little tricky. It's totally doable. I do it a lot too, but it's a little more clear this way. What else? Yeah, so, this is the one I like to use. JS Bin's pretty good. I believe there's a link to it on core site as well. Yeah, just gonna go from there. So this first example here, you see JS Bin, I have JavaScript on one side, or console is on the other. This will run every time I execute the little run button. Oh, my background's getting all weird. The light must have been changed behind me. Let me see if I can't fix that. Oh, no, it's better now. That's really weird. Anyway, yeah, so kind of going through my little example here. Can anyone tell me like what I did here, or before I talk and walk through it a little bit? Can you kind of describe what it is that I did, or was like walking through and stuff like that? Like what was this function? Like what's this function actually doing? In fact, I can even make another one here. So I'm gonna let that. Let's make another one. Let c equal 10. Okay, and then let's do another little console log here. Console dot, not lop log. And let's actually write something. I am boop boop boop. Gonna add that. Gonna do some string concatenation. And let's try that new one I just made. Let's say C. Let's do C5. It's just like I did with the one over there. Okay, and then if I were to run that, what? Some other kind of fun stuff going through here and stuff like that. So any guess, any ideas and stuff like that, like what it is that this X function is doing, and what is it making, and why is X5 and X10 creating different things, and what are Y and C, and why is Y5 and C5 giving me such different results or such different answers? Any guesses? Things going through? You could write that in the chat. It could be something dumb. I won't tease you, I promise. Okay, we can talk a little about it. So this is an example of closure, right? Of doing function closure. So my function X, this is the first function I kind of defined, stuff like that. This function always returns another, again, there we go. It's, God, my chroma screen is like really finicky. I wonder what that is. It's really strange. Anyway, I won't worry about it. It is driving me a little crazy. So what is it going to, so we have this function X. It always returns a function. Remember, functions can return in JavaScript. And this function, oh, I'm dropping a lot of frames. That's not good. I hope I can still be heard and seen and stuff going through. I wonder why my internet's being so weird. Anyway, I'm losing my train of thought here. So it's returning to the function. This function has one argument. X has one argument in A. It returns a function B that I just defined. I could call that anything. It also has a single argument S. And this function always multiplies S, the argument from the return function, times A, whatever we first fed this, the first argument of our current function. So when I do something like x5 with the argument 5, A equals 5. And now for Y, this is always going to, A is always going to be 5. So what I've, in a sense, done, and I could show other examples and things of this. Let me just take this. Do this. Now, and let's make this another number. Let's have this be 10. Let's see. Let me clear this. Run it. Okay. So we see with C and Y, they have different A values. We use the same function X, to declare them, to create them. Now Y and C are functions. They have the function B that X passed to it. But the A value for those is different. In Y, the A value is 5. In C, the A value, or the A argument, is 10. So what I've done with Y and X is like created a multiplier. So basically anything I use with C is going to multiply that times 10. Anything I use with Y is going to multiply by 5. And what this X function does is it's almost like a function factory. I don't know if you guys ever used factories, or like the factory mode. That's when they talk a lot about, like, in design patterns. I don't know, maybe you didn't get into design patterns. I don't know what you've taken before. But like the factory design patterns, pretty well known and used a lot, particularly in Java, and in other object-oriented programming languages. And what I've since done using Clojure here is like created a function that creates other functions. That it's not a multiplier function, like my X or my C and Y are, but it's like a function that makes multiplier functions. I could define a function that could always be a multiplier. The only thing is that once I've created this, I can't change it. So once I've created y, a y equals x5, I can't change the value of a ever again. Like y is permanently that thing. You know what I mean? Is always going to be the case. That's weird. I got a little thing going through. Let me check this. Oh, that's weird. Okay. Just checking some messages real quick. Let me come back to my main screen. Okay. So this is using a little bit of closure to kind of define, where the things are and stuff like that. It's almost like a little factory thing. And we can make other things using closures as well. We can do other kind of fun stuff, kind of using JavaScript as well. But this is kind of a quick example of just showing what's possible with this. But like I said, there's no way for me to modify or change a once it's been set now. Like it remembers, the way closures work is that it remembers the context of which it was created. At the moment we define and create y, or put a value for y for this x5, it sets that a value, but it can't ever be changed again. But it remembers what it was used. It remembers the original argument it was used to create it. But once that's happened, now a is like a private. You can almost think of it as like a private variable in C++ and Java. It's a similar idea, but it's a little more powerful that like it creates other functions that let's do things. Okay, so in y x5, where do we assign the value of s? We don't. It hasn't been set yet, right? Like it hasn't, the s, we've not set what s is yet. We actually call it, all it's doing is it's literally returning this function. And s hasn't been set yet. All it is doing is returning back a function. Y is not a value of something. Y itself is a function. So if I do something like, oh man, writing console log all the time is going to get really old. What is it? Type of, right? Y. You can imagine probably what this is going to be. Aha, function. So y is a function. It's not an actual value. We set the value of s gets set when we actually use. So right here, when we call and use y, that's where s is getting set or getting set because that's the argument for that function. But before this, all we're doing is we're defining what this function that return is going to be. You know what I mean? And we're kind of like setting a inside of it. Yeah, they're kind of like two preset functions. Exactly. It's kind of like x is like a factory that makes functions for us, and it's returning back functions for us, so we can like define things. So like in a sense, it like x is not a function that that makes a that like multiplies things. It's a function that makes other functions that can like make multipliers. So what x does is if I call x5, I'm telling it I want you to make a function that will times anything by 5s. You know what I mean? Like C, basically I'm saying like with x10, I want you to make a function that'll always multiply by 10, whatever you give it. And so that way it's kind of like a factor thing inside of that. So I hope that makes a little more sense. It's a little tricky. It's a little thing wrapped around. You know what I mean? The functional stuff can get a little weird. But hopefully that answers your question. It's really weird. I'm like really not doing great. I keep dropping out and stuff. Hopefully you guys can hear me just fine. Let me see if I can like maybe try closing some junks. Maybe I'm using too many, I don't know, stuff or something. Who knows? Okay. That should be a little bit better. Hopefully my network stuff doesn't continue to be a problem. Anyway, so those are closures. Those are pretty important. Are there any other things inside of this that doesn't make sense, or like parts of closures that like still seem a little tricky? Or we can try to just move on. We can try some other things. Let me see. We could talk about attributes inside of functions and play around with this and the binding of this. That could be fun. Let me think. What do I want to? How would I modify this? Let's do something like this. I think I could do this, like b dot. Oh, I don't. Oh, I have to initialize it, huh? If I want to actually, unless I want it to be set every time I use it. I don't want to do that. No, that's an object. Well, I'm kind of curious. Let's just play around. Let's see. I'm kind of curious if this is actually binding anything. Let's just mess around. I'm kind of curious. I think this should be bounded to something. It should be. I'm kind of curious what'll actually happen. I bet it's just going to return object if it returns anything at all. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Clear that. Run. Aha! That is a lot of stuff. Oh, I did actually print it out. It did print out everything into. So this is kind of crazy. What we're seeing is like literally everything in the global object, huh? Yeah, that's what this is. Yeah. So this isn't bounded by anything, or at least nothing local. We bounded it to the global object, which is window, and window of course includes like every goddamn thing that's going on. So that's why it was so crazy. And it didn't bind it because this is just a function. We didn't actually like initialize or create a new object. If I had like oh, I bet if I did something like this, if I did I don't know, let x equals new function. Oh, what did I do? Oh, I did I had hit the wrong keys on this function. That's not right? That's not the right syntax, is it? No, it's using the constructor for this. Oh, I don't want to do that. That's the, yeah, I mean, that would kind of work, but then I have to change all this to like get the, yeah, that's what I want my JavaScript to be like that. That's, yeah, that's weird that it doesn't, it's like complaining about let. Oh, maybe I just need to change ECSE. Yeah, let's do ECS6. Use Mozilla JS extension. Use Moz? Just JavaScript then. Okay, whatever. Yeah, it's 2006, not the latest 2017. That's kind of a weird thing. It should still work, or it is working. It's just letting me do that. I guess we can try. I wonder if this would actually work. Code all of this. It's like this, right? Probably want to take out the carriage returns. Yeah. I think there's a way. I think if I use triple quotes, that allows multi things going through, but I actually don't remember off the top of my head. I have to check. Okay. Think this will work. Nope. A is not defined. Oh, of course. Yeah, of course not. Yeah, of course not, because it's the argument that I'm feeding it. Right? New function to constructor. Defining a arguments. That's the ones that you're actually feeding it. Oh, I'm gonna have to look up. Let me see. I never use the constructor, the function constructor for JavaScript. And I kind of want to see if it actually binds this. The only reason I'm doing this is I'm kind of curious if I can like bind this to it. So let's see. Let's just look this up. Like we do for any problem we encounter. We Google for our answer. Function construction. constructor. Let me see. It's probably a good JS doc on this. Ha ha ha. Okay. Yep. Oh, that's it. It has to be a string. That's why. Yeah. Okay. That makes a lot more sense. That of course wouldn't work. So this also needs to be a string because I'm an idiot. And I think I could take my curly braces out. I don't think that's needed. Right? Yes. Okay, let's run that. Let's see if that works. Okay, that still has the stupid window thing in it, right? Yeah, let me take this out. Oh, but it's still using, this is still referencing, I really thought that would change. It's still referencing the window object. Yeah, it's still, oh, I'm not showing it to you. You guys can't see anything. I'm sorry. So yeah, I just did this again. I can even show you, clear that, run it again. And this is getting pushed again to the window object. I thought making the stupid thing using the constructor would have stopped that, but it didn't. And I don't know why. That really should have attached it to, oh, this is of being inside of Y when we use it. It should remember what X was, if X had anything else inside of it. Or it should have been in the function object, the prototype of function. Okay, well, you never have to really use this, so don't really worry about it too much. I was just kind of trying to show a little bit. In this case, this is being attached to the global object. I bet if I use strict and stuff like that, I bet this would go away. So, oh, what's the syntax for that? Let's see, like use strict mode. Let me see. Just want to make sure I'm invoking it right. Yeah. Okay. So I bet this code will fail if I use strict mode on it. Because this is going to be undefined. No, it didn't. It actually, yeah, that actually was a-okay. I guess maybe it is still. It is being bounded to X, and coming out from the thing from that. That's really interesting. Yeah, I thought for sure that would have been right on. That would have failed if it was attaching to the window object. Either that or like the use strict isn't like really working in this case. That also could be the case. But yeah, that's interesting. That's really interesting. I would have thought for sure that would have failed. Okay, so that's those fun things. I'm gonna kill this stupid console log inside of here. We don't need that. I'll keep everything else the same though. Clear that, run it. So this is the exact same code. The only difference, or what I changed inside of here, was using the function constructor. Remember, functions are also objects, and there's a function class. A function class has a constructor. There's a way of defining functions using that. Don't advise these. I've never actually seen it in production code before. I've never really used it before. That's why I had to look up to see what the syntax was again for it. I didn't remember off the top of my head. But it's there. Our code is doing the exact same thing. There's no difference from that. Yeah, that's interesting. That's some fun stuff. Okay, so we have that. That's one thing to go through. We have a couple other things we can play around with in terms of like changing things in prototypes and arrays and other things like that. So let's try playing around with that for a little bit. So let's say I want to a new array. I'm going to call it RE. I'm going to assign it the empty array. That's the empty array. We have cool things inside of here. I could do a bunch of cool things with RE now. So like RE.push. The string 5. I can RE dot. Oh, I don't want to pop. That would take it off. Let's just push something else inside of it. Let's see. I can mix things inside of here. I can have the number 5. Ooh. I can also just like assign things to it as well. Like RE, what is this? I can do like RE4. That doesn't exist yet. Like I've skipped a bunch of places inside of that. Equals 4. So that's something I can do. What else can I do? Oh, I can have other name value pairs. So cat, dog. So I can do that. That's something that I can totally do. And so let's actually now console push. Let me actually like see what's inside RE now. Console.log. RE is. Oh, but that's not gonna. Well, this might actually work. I was pretty sure this isn't going, or at least it'll just tell us that it's an array. But this could do something. Let's see. Yeah, it also didn't put in all the things inside of there. It only did what was accountable. It's not actually going through all of the other elements. If I did something like, but it did. It printed out all the things inside our cool little array. That's fun. So that's neat. If I did something like this, though, I could also like query for that. I could do something like, oh, no, don't want that. .cat. Clear, run that. See, so I could access my cat attribute with just using like the dot operator. I can also do this, clear that and run it. What? Same thing, always worked. Other cool things with that. So that's kind of neat. I do fun stuff like that. We could change something about arrays or create a new thing inside of it. So let's say I want to, let's add something just to RE on itself. So let's like add something. I could do like another, this is another thing. I'm just like adding something new. I don't know. I just need to, it's just BBB. Actually, it's the BB8. BB8 equals boop inside of our RE. So I'm adding something new inside of there. Same thing as I did before. If I were to do this. Oh, actually, let's not do that. Let's not have that thing say. Let's have this be a function. Let's call a function inside of here. Function. I don't know. Talk. Console.log. Boop. It should be everything that I want to do. So let's do like RE.BB8. Let's actually call that function now and see how that works. Oh, that didn't show. Oh, I know, because I'm an idiot. Yeah, duh. I didn't actually invoke the function. Haha, see, now that works because I'm dumb and I forgot to actually like invoke it like an idiot. So we invoked it with no functions. We have this cool little function inside of there. We've added that to an array. So I have a function inside my array that does something. I can define lots of other functions that do other things to it. I could think I could also do something like, this should work if I do like this dot cat. Aha, see? So I could, this is bounded to ARI itself, to the array that we've just defined. So this is bounded to that. I can access other things from it. All the same elements in there. I believe I could even do something like this should totally work. Like that. Like that should be cool. Yes. There we go. Also worked. So multiple ways ARI, like this is bounded to the array ARI, which is also an object, which also does other things. So I've like modified and changed this. I could go a step further though. If I were to dynamically change the array prototype, what would be the thing for that? I think it's like, let me see. Prototype. Yes. Right. Oh, it's right. It's the object. Yeah, the object got set. So we can do modifications to that. Let me find a good example of that, though. I want to make sure I'm not pointing you down the wrong path. Let me see. I had a good example of this before. Okay, yeah. New prototype inheritance. Yes. Okay. Okay, so let's go, let's check back inside of here. So if I were to do something like created a change, we're actually adding something to array itself. Let's call this R2 D2. Oh, that's not, this is RD D2. R2 D2. It also has function, let's call that TT, or just T, whatever. And it's going to do similar things. Console.log. It's going to beep. Okay. Did I miss anything? No, I believe that's all good. So if I were to now have like ARI dot R2 D2, invoke it, that should actually work. Let's see. Beep actually worked. And say I have any other array that I define now. So like let's let I don't know, let's let VV equal an array. We're going to put some things inside of it. So 1, 2, cat, 2, whatever. Okay. That. This will also work. As well. Clear that. Run that. We got another beep from that as well. What? I know, it's crazy. No worries. Hope you're enjoying our stream today, Marcus. Going through that. Hope I can be heard or seen okay. I know, like, I keep getting a lot of complaints that, like, or not from you guys, but like from my thing that's like telling me that like my stream's all weird or something like that. That I'm like dropping a lot of, I'm dropping like a lot of frames and stuff like that. So hopefully this is actually like coming through pretty well. But that's how that's working and stuff. So we can actually like mess around and like change things. So there's a big difference between this when we dynamically added a new array to RE, the instance of an array. RE, we added a function to that, and then actually changing the prototype with changes all arrays, ones that have been created already, and all those that are to be created after this. And this is dynamic, of course. If I were to try to do, if I was to do like array dot r2 d2, that would not work. I'm going to get an error, an undefined error. Yep, see, type error. R2D2 is not a function. It doesn't exist. There's nothing there. So I'm getting a crazy error because of that. Likewise, VB does not have BB8. There's no BB8 inside of there. Like R2 VB dot BB8. Invoke it. Clear this. Run this. Also get a type error. What? BB8 is not a function. It has no idea what the hell you're talking about. It's not there. It's only affecting that. So that's a little bit of some of the differences and some of the things around changing like how like prototypes and things work inside of functions, or just how prototypes work in general. We can modify the prototype, and that'll affect all the objects downstream from that prototype, and we can go prop up and change things out as well. So there's a big. There's definitely, I'm telling you this a lot because it's something that is going to become a bigger deal, or not a bigger deal, but like it's something that's definitely going to be on like the quizzes next week and stuff. Like I'm definitely going to have a question on like the difference between changing a prototype and changing an instance of an object, and like what works and what doesn't, and like what the expected outcome. So be mindful for that. Yeah, so we have that going through. Any questions, concerns, comments, anything that people want to add or look through, or something that's actually like making sense of like what we're looking at and stuff? I'm happy to talk about that more or less, or any other things. Okay. Well, what else can we play around with a bit? Let me think. I guess we could play around with. I don't want to get into callbacks. I was going to do callbacks next week, and like asynchronous JavaScript. That's a little more tricky. To kind of like set up and stuff, but yeah, but I'll probably talk about that one. Probably get into that deeper next week when we get into some of these things. We already played around a little closures, functions, different types of functions. I guess we get like maybe and like arrow functions, I guess, but that's that's nothing that different or new. There's nothing there that I can think of like wanting to get deeper into, unless you have any questions on that. Which I don't see anything in the chat, so apparently not. I think everyone's super cool on that. We talk a little bit about immediately invoked, the IIFEs, immediately invoked functions. Those are functions that once we create, we actually do something with, like at the same time, actually like run. But there's nothing really that, like interesting things with that. I don't know. Well, we can try. We can play around with it a little bit. Let's see. So we got a private function. This actually came from our example in class that we showed up at. I've just like copy and paste this from our class thing. We're going to modify and play around with it a little bit. So you might recognize it, or you should recognize it, considering literally it's in the notes. But I can I can mess around with this example again. So this is another kind of example of closure. Remember, here we have two. We're returning back. I'm saying actually I want this to be let. So I have this new variable cat day equals this object / function thing that's going to be, or actually it's immediately it equals. This is going to execute this function that is immediately going to return back an object that has a bunch of functions and other things inside of it, and is going to immediately invoke that and do something with it. So what's happening inside of here is I have a single property. Let's just call this P1. Let's call this P2. Make sure to modify that anywhere else I have that. P1. P1 and what? P-deuce. Okay. So I have I don't want this to be test. That's kind of, well, whatever. Okay. So P1 equals the number 1. P2 is this crazy string. Set private is actually setting this variable. So actually, the way it's a constructor almost that likes me actually modify and change this and do some cool things with that. And this compute, all this does is I'm just going to call this add. It's kind of dumb to call it compute. No, don't want the caps lock. There we go. And now I have this object that has other things inside of here. And this was immediately, when I run my code, this will immediately get invoked, and this cat will now equal an object. So if I do console log type of cat day. Don't ask me why I just called it cat day. It's just because. And I run this. It is an object. It's not a function. There's no other things going through there. It's literally an object, but that object has other things inside of it. So if I were to do something like, I don't know. Let's reuse one of our, what did we have up here? Let's just call this a whatever. Cat day dot I don't know, add. And does it, no, there's no attributes that I give to that. So I could do that. I can do cat day dot set private 1, and I want this to be I don't know, just another string of exclamation points. And now I let copy and paste, because that's how all the best coders do it. We always just copy and paste our junk. Do that, and so now let's look and see what we got. Console log. I don't know. A is this. Oop. And B is B. There we go. Okay. Let's check this out. Uh-oh. Add is not a function. Oh, because I didn't change the name here because I'm an idiot. There we go. That should actually work. There we go. See, there we happen. There we go. So, I should have put a space between there, right? And oh no, I didn't have to create a space there. It's 1. So A equals this 1, hey, blah, blah, blah. B equals this crazy thing with exclamation marks in front of it. So we're seeing the closure of this. It was immediately invoked. So that's the big deal with this. I didn't actually this whole function. This is another example of closure, but instead of having the example above where I'm using this closure to I'm defining that I'm not running that function yet. I'm waiting to run that function at other times so I could set that attribute to other things that I want. It's kind of if you can see when I'm pointing at this, can you see my mouse? Oh yeah, you can see my mouse. It's like really slow though. Yeah, I can't even see it. But this, so the little brackets and stuff like that at the end of our candidate, that's what's actually invoking this saying, okay, now that they're immediately call this function I just created, and the return value of that, which is this object, that has two attributes in it, add and set private. That's it. It doesn't have actually, that doesn't have any other attributes to it, but it still has the memory. Well, I don't know. Doesn't. It can never be changed now. I can't modify it after the fact. And it's just kind of be evoked. So a similar idea to the closure above, just a little different. You know what I mean? We're using an IIFE instead, immediately invoked function expression, right? I think that's the definition of that. That's weird. I just got spammed. Really? Do I have a spam bot on my thing? Is that real? What? I'm famous enough to get spammed? That's nice. I'm going to report you for spamming. Hate speech, corruptions. I can't just say like they're being bad, like they're just being dumb. Give me more options. Motion blocks, inappropriate, underage, breaking Twitch. Bits, there's a bits policy. I don't know. Do you think that could just be like a spam button? I guess not. Inappropriate, hate speech. Oh, here we go. Spam malicious link. Yeah, there we go. Great. Probably a bot. I don't know. Spam my thing. There we go. I plugged the person as well. Great. That's really crazy. That's so funny. I guess I'd want to be famous. I don't know. So that happened. We're live here, folks. I guess we could use bigfollows.com to to buy followers for my crappy channel. So we can do that. I could bore even more people with my JavaScript knowledge. Okay. So any other questions, comments, other things around that's not, maybe you don't understand or don't get? Any other things about the lectures we've talked about today or the last few days and stuff like that with the JavaScript stuff? I think next Wednesday I'll be doing like callbacks and promises. Oh crap, because we haven't even talked about promises yet. That's going to be tomorrow. So you have that to look forward to. We're going to talk about other ways of doing asynchronous JavaScript. The more popular version, the newer, which isn't really new, is called promises. It's another way of doing asynchronous code without having to resort to callbacks. And this allows us to write more elegant code, and it also gives us like some actual functionality that it's not just like semantic sugar on top of callbacks. It really, when it comes down to it, like promises are really like this like follower or like the subscriber and like sender pattern, and we'll talk about that tomorrow morning. That's kind of all I have. I kind of wanted to show today and stuff like that, unless anyone else had any other concerns or examples they wanted to see, or something like in the code of our last lectures that they were curious about or didn't make sense, or anything and stuff like that. If not, I could just kind of cut this one a little short. We're pretty much at our hour. Yeah, I think that's kind of all I have for today. We're going out again. Any other? I'm gonna go back to a little fuller profile of my face. That's always nice. I know you appreciate that. So any other questions, comments, concerns, anything else you wanted to talk about today? Feel free to write me in the chat. If not, if anything else is going through, any other questions you have, of course, always email me. Put something on Piazza. I always want to say pizzazz. Piazza. Feel free to ask any questions and comments there. Next week we'll be going over continuing asynchronous JavaScript. We'll have our first programming assignment released on Tuesday, and our first quiz will be on Thursday. It'll cover all this JavaScript material. Yeah, that's all I have for today. Well, anyway, thank you so much. I will talk to you all later. Have a good night. Get well rested, and I will see you bright and early at 9:20 Eastern Standard Time here in my home. You're all welcome into my side room, studio, whatever. Cool. Okay. Catch you guys later. Have a good one. See you tomorrow.